Welcome to Suitably. This week we'll be going through the top 3 factors you should consider when picking a wedding suit. First and foremost is your budget. If you have a small budget, you might consider renting or getting an off-the-rack suit. Bear in mind, however, that unless you have a model-esque physique, a rented or off-the-rack suit will not fit you perfectly. And if you choose to get an off-the-rack suit retailored to you, you should factor in the extra cost of alterations. If your budget is average or high, we advise you to go with a custom suit, as you will be guaranteed a perfectly fitted garment that you will own, not to mention the fact that you will be involved in its design. Make sure you go with a tailor that understands your vision and offers products that have a good quality to price relation. The next factor to consider when picking your wedding suit is seasonality. The season you choose to get married in may influence the look of your wedding, but what it should inform is more specific than style and often overlooked, that is, your suit fabric. If you are getting married in the summer or in a place where the climate is hot, we recommend going for finer wool fabrics such as very fine twills, pinpoint fabrics, and bird's eye fabrics. If your style is a bit more laid back or tropical, going for wool, linen, wool cotton blends might be ideal, as they let heat escape easily and offer a more relaxed look while staying classy. If you're getting married in the winter or late fall, opting for a suit made of average thickness wool is ideal, but you could also go for thicker woolen fabrics as they look great in cooler weather. If you are going for a look that is simultaneously high elegance and laid back, tweed is a great option in the late fall and winter. Thicker twills can be a great option too, with textures that range from very visible and rustic in appearance to seamlessly smooth and suave. The third factor to consider when picking a wedding suit is the style you're opting for. The wedding suit you'll choose if you have a highly formal or chic wedding is very different from the one you'll choose if you have a laid-back or rustic themed wedding. This should go without saying, but always make sure to inform your guests when it comes to dress code, as you wouldn't want them to feel embarrassed because they are underdressed or overdressed. Another point to consideration in regards to your chosen style is that the level of rewearability of your suit will depend on the choices you make. For instance, the rewearability of a tuxedo is not the same as a notch-lapelled blue suit. With that in mind, let's dive into different styles. First and foremost, let's discuss tuxedos. Tuxedos are worn exclusively on special occasions and are characterized by their single jacket button and their cohesive look, created by the use of black satin. To be more specific, black satin on the lapels, on the jet pockets, on the sleeve buttons, on the single front jacket button, and at times down the pant outseam. The only instance in which a tuxedo would have more than one button is if it is a double-breasted one. Given that satin is a luxury fabric, the price of a tuxedo is slightly higher than that of a regular suit. Tuxedos are best worn with black dress shoes, a bow tie, and a white dress shirt. A common formal enhancement to a white shirt paired with a tuxedo is having black shirt buttons or studs and wearing cufflinks. Your choice of tuxedo might be influenced by how classic or flamboyant you are. If you are opting for a classic look, a black, midnight, or navy tuxedo would be best, as they are more conventional. If you like ornateness and wish to be even dressier, you might consider a jacquard tuxedo. Jacquard being a highly ornate fabric that has a raised pattern woven into it. If you decide to wear a jacquard tuxedo, note that the pants should be plain black, as full jacquard tend to look overly busy. A fun tuxedo twist is to go for colors. If you are aiming for a spiced up classic look, we recommend you stick with darker shades, such as forest green, deep burgundy, or dark purple, as they will pair nicely with black satin. If you want to go full funk, you could opt for bright colors or pastels such as lilac, mint green, red, or turquoise, with a satin that matches instead of black. If your wedding has a rustic theme, the suit you choose should also reflect that. Although it is important to look groomed and elegant, if you are having a rustic themed wedding, you want to avoid any look that is overly polished or too proper. A good way to achieve a rustic look is to play with texture. For example, opting for a fabric that has a visible texture such as wool linen blends, a rib weave, a chambray, or tweed. Essentially any type of fabric that isn't perfectly smooth will add depth and create character. Playing with the materials of your accessories is also great in this regard. Pairing your textured suit with a leather or cork bow tie, for instance, will enhance the rustic feel of your outfit. Garden weddings almost always take place in the summer, although they can sometimes occur in the fall or late spring, depending on the weather. Garden weddings happen primarily outdoors, with the ceremony often taking place outdoors as well. Given the absence of AC or central heating, the top consideration to bear in mind when choosing a suit for a garden wedding is temperature and weather. Therefore, beware that if you will be standing in the sun all day, you might overheat in dark colors and shades, such as black, midnight, or burgundy, as they will further attract heat. Similarly, we would also advise going for fabrics that are thin or lightweight and breathable, such as ultra-fine twills and wool linen blends. The same weather consideration applies if the garden wedding is taking place in the fall. With the weather being shiftier, it might be slightly trickier to manage. As you certainly wouldn't want to overheat, nor would you want to be cold, we advise going for fabrics that are of average thickness. Layering, a classic fall feature, is also highly recommended. Going for a three-piece might be ideal, not only from a stylistic point of view, but also from a practical one. Wear it with the jacket to add warmth, and wear it without the jacket as a light and elegant piece. Now let's discuss the famous beach wedding. The beach wedding is similar to the garden wedding in that it takes place outdoors, and weather is a point of high consideration. However, a beach wedding has the added element of sand and nearby salt water. Therefore, sticking to a lighter color palette is highly recommended, not only for temperature's sake, but also to fit the setting's aesthetics. In addition, some sand is likely to find itself on the suit. It will be very visible on a dark suit, but be barely noticeable, if at all, on a light suit. We also recommend more relaxed, lightweight, and breathable fabrics such as wool linen blends, wool cotton blends, and seersucker. Not only will these types of materials prevent you from overheating, they also don't need to be perfectly pressed to be worn elegantly, so they'll fit the naturally relaxed atmosphere of a beach wedding. Next up on our list, the winter wedding. If you are getting married in the winter, we recommend you fully embrace the season's aesthetics. Dark jewel tones and colors such as ruby, emerald, amethyst, gold, and silver blue would all look gorgeous at a winter wedding. Thicker materials such as woolens and luscious textures such as velvet, satin are also highly recommended. Following up, we have the cocktail wedding. Having gained in popularity in recent years as a more freestyle approach to a reception, the cocktail wedding reception often sees the absence of the sit-down dinner, instead opting for the more cosmopolitan drinks and appetizers formula, with a wedding cake served near the end. It goes without saying that your suit should fit the vibe, but the cocktail wedding reception can be quite varied within its own genre, so you have some flexibility here. As mentioned, the venue is very important in defining the mood and atmosphere. So if your reception venue is highly chic, like a restaurant bar, you could opt for a tuxedo. If it's on the rooftop of a trendy modern bistro, a clean blue suit worn with a cherry-colored tie and dress shoes could be a great look. Now on to our final decision. Should you get a two-piece, a three-piece? Not sure. Deciding whether you should go for a two-piece or a three-piece is truly a personal choice and a case-by-case situation. For the purpose of helping you choose, let's discuss some pros and cons. The number one pro of adding a vest to a two-piece suit is added elegance. Adding a vest to your two-piece instantly elevates the look of your ensemble. And if you decide to remove your jacket, which inevitably happens at a wedding, you'll still look very put together and stand out in the crowd. Another pro of going with a three-piece is playfulness. As mentioned, adding a vest increases the elegance level of your attire. So if you are colorful and would like to go for a more playful look, having a vest allows you to retain a certain level of dressiness even as you play with patterns and colors. Similarly, you could experiment with mix and match, opting for a vest of a different color or texture. As mentioned before, playing with texture is great for rustic themed weddings, so sporting a three-piece in this case is highly recommended. Mobility is another pro of the three-piece. Since letting loose on the dance floor might be a bit impractical with a jacket, having a vest will allow you to look at your best while leaving you with your full mobility. As far as cons go, a vest is an added cost as it is an extra piece. The added cost will vary from tailor to tailor or from retailer to retailer if you are not going custom. But if you are on a tight budget, it might be an expense you could do without. Another con is that since it is another layer, you might find it hot standing in the sun for a long time. The takeaway. All in all, the wedding suit you choose should be one that respects your budget, works for the season you are getting married in, and reflects the style and aesthetic of your wedding, ultimately making you feel your best as a groom. Thank you for watching. Until next time.